When it comes to stocks, it's all about finding the right opportunity, but also understanding the narrative that kind of can change everything when it comes to your specific stock or equity. You should always be doing your own research. And again, nothing I say here is financial advice. But again, I like what we're about to talk about, Robinhood. I think over the next 6 months to a year, things could get very interesting for the landscape of the company and where they're going to go. Because right now you are getting you're seeing the news happen in front of you that everything is changing for the company. And this has been I would consider them a growth stock. This has been one of the best stories of the past year and a half, 2 years. And when I talk about what we're going to discuss here today, I think you'll see that they are getting ready for another massive opportunity. The first thing I will highlight as we look at this is the valuation of the company. You can see their revenue over the year is around 4.2 billion right above my head. And the market cap right now is 110 million. That is roughly, give or take 25x valuation, a little bit over maybe. So again, not the craziest as far as tech names are concerned. And I want you to hear this right now. This is not comparable to Interactive Brokers or Webull or Futu or even SoFi. This is a company in a league of its own. And I think the news that we're going to talk about should get you excited. If you do want to get access to seeing what we're trading, how we're trading every single day, the Discord link is down below. Again, do what you got to do. That link is there for you. You get access to all of our information, things we're trading, what we're buying, etc. It's all there for you. Now, going into the stock, let's talk about it. First of all, you've gone ballistic, but I'm going to go to technicals here in a second. I want to focus more on the fundamentals here. And basically the way that Robinhood is functioning and I think going to be operating, it's kind of a history of, I think there's 3 parts to the company. And I think the newest part is going to change kind of everything. Now, also to you guys, if you do not follow me on Twitter, the link is down below. I recommend following us on Twitter. You get all the updates. I've been doing a lot of my videos on there since I've been kind of banned off YouTube for the past 7 days. But again, you'll see all the media, all the charts, all the education. I'm going crazy on there, so you'll probably get more content there than actually on YouTube. So check it out, 100% free. There's no paywall at all on Twitter. Now, let's jump into this. So I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible, get you guys out of here. But let's discuss where we're at. Number 1, options trading. That's really where Robinhood was founded. And I'm not going to spend too much time on this part, but if we look over the past, we look at the overall growth of the company. We've talked a lot about it on Twitter recently. The overall growth of the company, the green is the total revenues, has been really solid. But what I want to highlight is when they were solely focused on options trading, and that's really it, and power to the people, and we're going to give you your own exchange to trade on, whatever, right? That was this period here from like 2020, 2021 into 2023. And their revenue was pretty flat. You can see 1.8 billion, 1.3 billion, 1.8 billion. That's over the course of the year. More recently, they did 4.2 billion. So what changed in between 2023 and 2025? Well, in my opinion, it leans into crypto revenue. And I think that's where everything heated up for Robinhood. And before I go into that part, I want to address the stock value, okay? And so giving us a time span of that specific, time, right? Go back so we can, match this up 2021 to 2023 basically, right? When you were flat. You go back to the chart, you can see here, again, just marking out a giant box so you can see, obviously 2021 is when you kind of drop, you IPO'd, but you spent most of your time from December 2021 all the way into 2024, right, in this range. And then at 2024 started here in January, you slowly started to tick to the upside. But that's what happened. You basically sat in this range going all the way down $13 into like $8, $7, back and forth. Well, of course, when companies are growing and they show those signs of growing and signs of life, that's when things get interesting. We've talked a lot about this, right? You go from basically 500 million, 460 million, 470 million, and then bam, you hit 600. Well, what happens there? What's that jump in revenue? Did they just start having more options being traded on the platform? What was going on, right? And to me, it's very clear what happened. Crypto, 2023, 2024, look at the jump. They made almost no money, 135 million. In 2024, they did 600 million. Right now, they're at basically $1 billion in crypto. They're going to do more than that by the end of the year, but that's where they're at now. But you can see in 2024, that's the big jump. And look at that revenue jump, right? If you literally just added the crypto part, that would basically be a majority of your jump in revenue, around give or take 70% of it. Very important to understand that, okay? And so that's what really starts taking off here is crypto revenue starts jumping. Now, the problem with crypto revenue is it's pretty inconsistent. That's the main problem. But that's what's really got Robinhood jumping out. Because you have to understand, like, they're not going to get crazy margins off people just coming and trading on their platform, especially with how it's structured, okay? And so when you jump to your next part, again, crypto is the main focus. And trust me, we're going somewhere. But we have to understand what got us to where we're at and ultimately what can take us from here to really the promised land of where you want to be. So that's where we're at with crypto. And so when you look at here, this is where things get interesting. And so when we jump in, we need to understand who's actually using Robinhood, because you always see, oh, Robinhood added more users, this, that, and the other. Well, this green bar represents your monthly active users, okay? In the millions. So 11.4, 11. This goes to 2022. And this, I went by quarter on this one. So you can see it's been pretty consistent. You peaked out in December 2024, last election, funny enough, is when you peaked out at 4.9 million. And we kind of just traded back down to 13.8. You would think, actually, it's funny because you're seeing more young individuals investing now than ever, but your active users have dropped here to 13.8. But this orange line represents a monthly average revenue per user, right? So these are active users on the platform and how much, again, they're averaging on spend. And so when you look here, it's very, very interesting that this has been the one constant that is almost always going up, and it's going up rapidly. So you can see we've reached our all-time high of the average spend per client. So it's very interesting that you're getting Robinhood, getting new clients. Number one, they're getting a new user is one thing, but getting someone that's active is what you really want, because that's how you get this number up. And so their activity number is scaled up gradually, but again, it's pretty consistent here. No big jumps here, aligned with revenue as far as I'm concerned, okay? That's the big thing to understand. But when you take a step back and look here and you compare what's happened here as well with crypto, again, I do believe a lot of this lines up with crypto as well. If you were to lay this over, this is cryptocurrency, pure revenue there, okay? So again, cryptocurrency revenue from 2022 to almost, midway, well, it heats up at the beginning of 2024, like we mentioned, but it slows down and then heats up and slows down and then heats back up. That's how crypto functions. But the key thing is that they're able to keep people spending money even during those downturns, right? You kind of tilted down, but you spiked right back up when crypto spiked up as well. Worth mentioning. So what they've been able to do is something really interesting. They basically made this hub where, okay, we're going to get Timmy, we're going to get Johnny to bring over their retirement accounts, everything over to Robinhood. And what we're going to do with this is we're just going to have a ton of different ways you can spend your money. Now, again, you can bring over your retirement account. We'll do a match. We want to incentivize you to bring your money over, even if it's going to cost us. Okay. If they're profitable, they can afford to do it, I guess. Okay. That's where they're at right now. Now, they've consistently been adding more and more stuff to the table of what you can play with your money with. And I know people are like, well, they're bringing over retirement money. They're not going to touch that. I'm just telling you, it's a very dangerous game to be looking at your retirement account and having access to that money frequently, in my opinion. Just having your investing account, it's a very dangerous game, especially if you have cash on that account. And so this is what their goal has been. And I think they're coming to this realization that, look, crypto is going to do well. It's going to have a seasonality. It's going to do really well. But there's going to be times where crypto is not going to be able to sustain the growth that they're having. Okay. And again, we go back to that overall revenue chart of back here. Okay. Very important. The green, like this has been great overall growth. We're not going to discount that. But it's not going to be sustainable. They have to figure out new ways to get people spending, because while crypto is making a pretty big chunk of their revenue, you have to understand this, getting people to spend money is the business model now, right? Getting people, having the money in front of them, getting them to spend more and more and more. And I think that's where things get crazy right now, is because you're seeing a whole new market. And it's important that we understand the valuation of where Robinhood is right now without prediction markets. It's at $110 billion, which has some prediction aspects, but they've really done some tests. And so Robinhood yesterday comes out and they announce, well, look, we're extending our prediction market offering through a new joint venture with partnership with, I'm not going to pronounce that. So again, operating as a licensed exchange and clearinghouse. Okay. And I think they're charging 1 cent per contract that is traded. It's also worth mentioning, Kalshi comes out today and they just reached a valuation of $11 billion. I think they raised $1 billion, but the valuation was they raised money at an $11 billion valuation. And that's where things are crazy. And if you look at the growth, and I think you should be using Kalshi and Polymarket as examples, but look at the growth from Kalshi. And annualized volume, $70 billion, absolutely insanity. $1 billion traded every week. Crazy, right? And I think the part here that's interesting is Robinhood is going to be probably the company that capitalizes on this the most. And they see it. Now, I would not be surprised if we see not a takeover, but some type of partnership, because this coincides perfectly as a company, right? Because whether you like it or not, when you go to Robinhood, it has become, it's a cesspool. And again, some of you might love it. And again, I used to recommend Robinhood to, like, if you like work a 9 to 5 and you're just throwing money in, it's not bad. It really isn't. Like, I'm not going to say to day trade on that. It's crazy, but like, it's not a terrible app, right? And it's very simple and intuitive. But now they're doing this, and you have to understand, when you have normal people that make bad decisions, which isn't anybody's fault but their own, and they have all their money there, the likelihood, and this is sports game, this is gambling. I don't care. It's not, someone said this is trade. It's not, this is not trading. Okay. This is not trading. You can go in here, you can go to sports. You can basically bet on sports. This is nuts. You can bet on anything, right? And so Robinhood is going to follow this entire market, and you have to understand that. And this is where I think Robinhood could get crazy, because I do think this could end up producing more money than they're making on the options and trading side of the business easily, especially with the numbers that Kalshi and all these other companies are doing as well, and how they can seamlessly integrate. And that's where things get interesting, because again, if you're investing into Robinhood, I think the one thing that matters the most to you right now is this right here, your average revenue per user. The most influential, most critical, crucial thing you could see. And you can actually see when this line jumps is from December 2023, Q4 of December or of 2023, into Q1 of 2024. And when you go back, that is the determining factor of when you break out finally. From $10, $14, you go crazy. That's what's happening. And then when you see another big jump going back into it, right, more recently of June this year, right, going into the third quarter, right? You can even see in the last quarter of 2024. So when you go to the last quarter of 2024, look what happens. You go from literally $17 a share into the beginning of 2025 into $66. You dip back down going into Q3. What happens? May into June and July, you go berserk into $150. They are getting their customers to spend more money. And I'm telling you right now, I think this is their new move. I'd be beyond bewildered if Robinhood does not make this their sole focus and mission as a company right now to take the top spot of prediction markets. I do think Kalshi, I do think Polymarket have more notoriety right now, but I think Robinhood is clearly shifting all their focus, lining up their sights on the prediction markets. And again, what you're going to start seeing, and this is going to roll over into everything. You're going to start seeing this on TikTok. You're going to start seeing this. You're already seeing it on TikTok, actually. You're going to see it on Twitter. You're seeing it on all these social media platforms. But you're going to start even seeing influencers come out and say, okay, well, I'm a prediction specialist. And some people are making a lot of money off this. I think it was on 60 Minutes yesterday. Some people are making tons of money from this. But a lot of people are going to be idiots. And again, this is going to be an absolute just money pit. This is going to be great for Robinhood, great for any of these people that are able to capitalize on it. But that's what's happening right now. And so when I look at the chart, I don't love buying it here. I genuinely don't. However, from the outside looking in, $100 was probably your last opportunity. Now, again, I wanted to see a 200 SMA touch. I was being greedy. I was being maybe even a little too conservative there. But that's what I wanted to see. If we start remounting 130 here, I think it's highly likely we start pressing back into 145 and 150. I'm not telling you to buy anything. No, I own no Robinhood right now. I want to make that very clear, okay? But I do think this is going to be one of the, it's not even a mid cap anymore. I guess it's a mid cap. It's not a small cap, it's a mid cap. It's going to be probably one of the best performing names that I'm going to be looking at over the next few months, just for myself. So again, if I had to speculate or look at that, that's my viewpoint. I'm very excited what's happening here. I think the numbers line up. And again, what you really are going to be looking for going into each earnings is this little number here, the average revenue per user. That is what you want to see. And you can see total change. I mean, just year over year, like look at the year over year, from 105 to 191. Bizarre to see. And again, people keep saying the consumer is weak, the consumer is this, the consumer is that. I don't care. You know, you're going to see a lot of these people pushing their own agendas, their bearish agendas, saying you're going to crash or the bubble. You have to be able to ignore all the noise. And when I'm looking at this, if the numbers don't lie, Now, maybe the numbers will slow down the line. They most likely will down the line. But as of right now, you look really, really strong, especially as we go into the beginning of the year. What's going to be happening with the Fed? What's going to happen with rate cuts? It's a very interesting spot to be in. If you have any questions, comment down below. Twitter link down below. Discord link down below. Have a good one, traders.